All right, I am joined today by Brandon James, 2006 and 2008 national champion, two-time All-American, Urban Meyer recruit, and of course, one of the stars of Swamp Kings. Brandon, thanks for joining me. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yes, ma'am. Good to be on. Good to be on. Good to see you as well.
All right, so right off the bat, the Gators are at home this weekend for the season opener. There
Mhm.
are a lot of guys who will be running out of that tunnel for the very first time on Saturday. What can they expect? And tell me if you remember your first time running out of the tunnel.
Definitely is going to be a crowd there, packed, ready to see us get a W for sure. So, my first time, I was super excited. So, I would any advice I could give those guys is to take it all in and be excited and have fun with it as well. You know, you only get your first time one time, so obviously enjoy it, take it all in, but be ready to get a W. That's the most important thing. You got to defend the swamp.
Have you ever seen anybody run into the uprights as they came out from the tunnel?
No, not in the swamp, but obviously you've seen it on YouTube or stuff like that. People actually do it, and it's hilarious. But no, not actually one of our games. No.
All right. So obviously last week there was a lot to be desired from our Gators, but I want to talk to you about an area that you are an expert in. And obviously, as the punter's wife, it's near and dear to my heart as well.
Mhm.
That would be special teams. What did you see from UF's special teams against Utah?
In the return game, definitely not enough playmaking. If you want me to be honest, we got to get some guys back there that are going to make game-changing plays or change the field position at the least. You know, because especially where we're at offensively, it looks like we're gonna have to ground and pound it a little bit and make depend on our running backs and running game. You know, you need a electric special teams that can kind of change the game where it is kickoff return, whether it's punt return or even in the punt block team. We changed the game a lot of times with Urban dialing up blocks to where touchdowns and stuff like that could go on. So that's the biggest area. You're going to need some playmaking there at as well as just being sound and not giving up big plays.
Okay, so judging from what you saw, what are some changes you think they could make immediately? Like maybe they did it at practice this week to improve, or is there anything?
That's tough for me to say because obviously I'm not there every day. You know, me as a coach, long hours that we spend in high school and stuff like that. You never want to be critiqued by people that don't know what's going on in house. And me being a Gator, I'm gonna give my objective opinion, but at the same time, that's the home team. So I'm always want to give those coaches and Coach Napier and the crew a chance to turn it around and get it going. So I believe in what they have going on. I think it's just about holding everybody accountable and at the end of the day, going to work and practice and getting it done.
Have you gone up to practice? Have you gotten a feel of what it's like to be up there at all?
No, because again, I coach high school ball down here in St. Augustine, where I'm from. So it's tough. I'm all in on our season and what we have going on. So I'm just watching on Saturdays. And then I have a brother also that, he's in college for his last year. He's at Kansas University, KU. So I'm following that as well. So I'm all caught up in all these different things. So it's a lot of hours spent on preparation, obviously for my team, but as well just talking to my brother and conversing with him and his season and stuff like that. So I just support from afar, and obviously Spikes is there now, so I'm communicating with him on the regular. So I get an inside scoop in what's going on.
Okay, talk about what it was like playing special teams for Urban, what practices are like, and is there anything that you took from that and you use in your own coaching?
Well, playing first of all, the first part, just playing for him on special teams was always fun because he believed in playmakers going out there making plays. So there was no, you know, I guess you would say kind of just pulling you back or like don't catch this or don't make a play right here. It was always the green light. He would say the chains are off, just go play. So that part of it, I bring into my coaching as far as like if I have guys that can play, you believe in their ability, you coach them up through the week. Then once the game come, you let those guys be special. So I definitely have a lot of traits that I feel like I kind of took from him and some other coaches that were around us, and kind of use it on a day to day basis with my kids.
All right. So, Urban obviously put a large emphasis on special teams. Is this something, and I think we saw him really change the game within the SEC. Is this something you think that they're putting less of an emphasis on college football just across the board? I feel like we used to see these massive special teams plays regularly.
I feel like the rules has something to do with that. The new kickoff rule where guys can fair catch, which is the worst rule ever to me. I don't understand it. Why you would want a fair catch on a kickoff return when you got a chance to make a play? So that's a big thing. the touchback rule, just different rules that they kind of put into place with the tackling situation as well. So I think that has to play a part to it. But you watch it and you see guys still running back kicks. You see still guys make a play on some punt returns and stuff like that. You definitely see these some punters, man. I forget what game I was watching this Saturday. Punter kept pinning the team down, like on the 2, on the 1, on the 3, every punt. So there are plays being made, but at the same time, I think the rules have play a big part in it.
All right. So, do you have a favorite special teams play ever during your time at UF?
Definitely probably Jarvis Moss blocking the kick in South Carolina easily. And I know people are probably waiting on me to say one of my returns, but that play literally saves our season, and that's how we win the national title. And still, that's the loudest I've ever heard the Swamp. I think a lot of people, if you were there, you probably remember that. So it was going crazy that night.
Well, so Jarvis Moss was Eric's roommate his senior year of college.
Yeah.
You remember he was in a little bit of trouble the week
Hmm.
before, and so
Yeah.
this was like redemption week. And that entire week, I would cook dinner for them all the time, and I saw him a lot. And he literally the whole week leading up was like, "I'm going to win this game. I'm going to win this game." And I mean, I'm sure he didn't think it was going to be quite as literal as it like ended up being, but
Yeah.
he called his shot that whole week, which I feel like makes that even crazier.
Yeah. That was big. That was a big play.
That was huge. And it wasn't in Swamp Kings. It was, which is surprising, or there wasn't much on it. I would have,
Yeah, they just kind of covered the play.
yeah,
But again, it was it's a big play that saved our season, no doubt.
yeah. All right. Well,
Mm.
let's chat a minute about Swamp Kings. I talked to Steve Harris earlier, and we talked about how there's just so much more that we could have told if we had, 20 hours to go over it. Is there anything that you wish was included? Okay, before we continue with Brandon, I want to show some love to Meldon Law. Listen, guys, there are a bunch of injury firms out there, but there is only one that is a proud supporter of the Florida Gators. The official injury firm of the team that plays in the swamp should be your official injury firm as well. They do so much to give back to our program, and we totally appreciate the partnership with them. Listen, you may not need them today, but if you're hurt or you know someone that's in an accident, give them a call or shoot them a message. It's Meldon Law. And if you don't need them today, do me a favor, go to their Facebook and enter to win tickets to the Florida Georgia game in their ticket giveaway. We're not asking you to buy anything or spend your money. Let Meldon Law treat you to the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Link to register is in the description of this video.
Really, when people talk about that and talk about things that weren't said, I feel like the biggest thing is guys that had an opportunity to be a part of it and chose not to. I wish they would have,
Yeah,
because then there's more parts to be talked about and there's different people to hear from.
sure.
So I don't really care if I put him out, but like for his Percy's a big figure. He should, he didn't want to be in it. You know what I mean? Murphy didn't want to be in it. The Pounceys. You're talking about those 4 people alone, the big impact they played, and I mean, we all were on the phone, so we all had an opportunity. And so, when I hear people say, well, they left out this and this wasn't talked about, and why didn't they cover this? First of all, I'm glad they didn't cover all drama and just make it drama filled, because that's not what we were about. From Eric's senior class until we left as seniors, the story needed to be about we could have won a national title every year, and I think they did a great job covering that. So at the end of the day, again, long-winded answer, I think the guys that were left out, I wish they were a part of it, because they were key guys, key figures. Joe Hayden's another one.
Yeah,
Deontay Thompson's another one. So, like, I wish it was a way where everyone would have been a part of it, and it could have really been, everyone could have heard from everyone, got their side of it. But at the end of the day, I think they did a great job of covering what was Urban Meyer's, baby, which was, at the end of the day, those 4 or 5 years, we could have easily won a national title all 4 years, and we have a great argument to prove it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was such a great walk down memory lane for any of us that lived it, and I think it did it justice for sure. I just wish there were more episodes, because there is just
Yeah,
so many
exactly.
good stories to tell. Billy Latsko told me that the reason he wasn't in it is because he got a call, and I guess the producer maybe is British or one of them, and he thought it was a prank call, so he called her back.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Like, again, we were all on the phone. I didn't like. I signed off on it at first. I didn't want to be a part of it. And that's because so many guys didn't want to be a part of it.
Sure.
But then when you look back on it and people are calling to actually be a part of it, and now that it's come out, I'm like, man, I would have been stupid not to be a part of that. So that's kind of how I leave it. But again, I'm gonna always say Percy, the Pounceys, Carlos Dunlap, like Joe. I wish everyone could have somehow been a part of it that were special and a part of that team.
Well, and I really got to give you props because, there were so many guys on that team who did have different struggles during their time in college. And really, you were the only one that addressed it head on in that. And I thought it was really brave. And I felt like it was really important too, though, because it showed kind of the way that Urban managed those teams and that, he was strict, but he also did allow for redemption. And so I tip my hat to you for being willing to talk about that on camera.
Well, for me, again, I'm around kids 24/7. So I always want to be a good example to my players. And I knew they were going to be able to see it. And it's something I've shared with them a long time ago. So it's not like I'm nothing I'm trying to hide or anything. But at the end of the day, it's about, telling the truth and, being real. And at the end of the day, that happened. We partied and had a good time our whole time there. At the end of the day, where the world is at now, even Urban called me. He's like, man, I didn't know it was that situation. It was that, and it was that small, and whatever. So, it's easily something again, I share with my players. I talk to kids about different things I struggle with growing up because, again, you can always, there's some kid that's seen that and is like, man, coach went through all of that and he's still here coaching us and, pushing us. So that's pretty much the reason that I, chose to kind of address it head on.
Well, I'm pretty sure we were at Grog 26 nights in a row when Florida won the national championship in 2006.
Exactly.
You were
Exactly.
definitely not alone. All right, tell me your all-time favorite play as a Gator.
My all-time favorite play again. You said special teams before, so my all-time favorite play, I guess. Then it would probably be the Tennessee punt return. And that's just because how big that was that year. I ended up being the player of the year, special teams player of the year that year. So that all combined into that year, that was probably the biggest play.
All right. Well, tell Gator fans what you're up to. I know you said you're coaching in St. Augustine, but give us a little more color on that.
So basically, I'm a teacher down here in St. Augustine. Basically, I'm a dean. Actually, I don't teach anymore. And then I'm an offensive coordinator at my alma mater, St. Augustine High School. Been 4 or 5 years now, coaching at my high school. Been youth coaching now for almost about 10 years. So it's something I kind of volunteered doing first. Fell in love with it. Urban Meyer, and my dad are the two people that kind of called it as far as you're going to be a coach because how you are passionate about the game, all that good stuff. So between that and then I have my own kind of personal training business, Blueprint Sports and Physical Training. But I've kind of, with the coaching stuff, backed off of the training, but just trying to be around kids and be a positive influence on their lives as much as possible. I feel like, where I was able to go in my career, being inducted into the Hall of Fame and all that stuff, again, just a special teams player, is something that I always kind of want to pour into kids and get them to understand, like, look, I'm small, I'm this, I'm that, but I was able to do all this. So, obviously some of these kids now that they're blessed with size and blessed with all that stuff, I want to be that inspiration to kind of be in their lives and kind of push them to the same stuff.
Well, you definitely embody the motto that hard work pays off. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. It was good to catch up with you, and hopefully I'll catch you at a game sometime this year.
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Have a
Tell
good
Eric I say hello too, please.
I will. I will tell him.
All right.
All right. Bye. Thanks so much to Brandon James for joining me. That was really fun. He is always exciting to talk to. I appreciate all the support that you guys have been showing me, and I hope you like all of these interviews and the content that we've been bringing. Help us get to 6,000 subscribers. We are so close, so do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and go Gators.